Hello and welcome to the Warcraft 3 audio commentary. Today we're going to be taking a look at a game from WC3 Arena. It was sent to me by one of the players and I couldn't be happier because it's a pretty good game. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We'll see. Maybe you won't, maybe you will, but I think you will. And if you do, then that's cool, right? That's what matters. That's what it's all about. Everyone being happy and enjoying some nice Warcraft 3 with some tea or some water or, you know, coffee, whatever beverage you choose to drink. That's what it's all about, is watching some Warcraft 3 and enjoying it. Now this is a WC3 Arena map, which means we don't have any observer slots. It's unfortunate, so we have to have Fog of War off, and we hear some annoying, like, that sound right there. Maybe you don't hear it very well in the video, I don't know. But anyway, I can hear it pretty loud right now, and I don't like it that much, but that's okay. So let's introduce our players, and I'm gonna go ahead and call them by their well, I don't know, actually I can't really remember the Undead's AK, but anyway, so this is the human player. We're gonna call him AthiestP. He's Tinzia. You do know who he is, I'm sure, because of course he's been on the channel before, and as well as the live stream. Check it out if you haven't. And well, the live stream, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so point is, we are getting way behind. Let's look at this. We have an Archmage coming out for AthiestP, and of course, as well as a Footman. He is making an aggressive Arcane Tower. He does have that Acolyte there, just attacking that Arcane Tower, saying, I want to take it down. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make much progress there as the Archmage comes out. And of course, up here in the upper left, we actually have MalyKsiaze. We're gonna call him MalyKsiaze for my sanity's sake, and he is just going with a Ted Fiends build. Of course, he does have a Death Knight then, and he didn't sell his TP or anything like that. Nothing funny, no funny business going on. He's just gonna go ahead and run that Death Knight across. Will he kill a sheep? No, he doesn't really want skeletons. He just wants to get over here as fast as possible and do some damage to this creep camp. Will he be able to stick up any of the experience? He will pick up some experience, and wow, even both the Tome and the Gloves of Haste. And here comes, of course, a Skeleton Rod summon charge. Usually have a cup of water today. I'm going straight from the bottle. Cups are, you know, I don't have any cups right now. So anyway, MalyKsiaze, he's going to run back just a little bit there. Of course, we can see that the Archmage is, well, he's going to keep on creeping, because why not? And of course, we can see that he's still Town Hall. He's probably going to go for an expansion, I think. I did see this game a couple days ago, but I don't really remember the details. My memory is so fine. Anyway, so of course we're gonna see the Death Knight now. Looks like he's about to get surrounded. Oh, gonna barely get out of there with those trees. Just very deceptive right there. Of course, you can see now MalyKsiaze has begun to tech up. He's got a Ziggurat thrown down, a second Ziggurat thrown down as well, and soon he's gonna start making some fiends, I would imagine, and start doing pretty well with those guys. Of course, AthiestP saying, I got myself 4 footmen. My 5th footman is on the way, and I had that water elemental right there that I just didn't want him to coil, or if he was going to coil, maybe go into Arcane Tower range and lose all of his mana. You know, win-win for me. So, and by me I mean AthiestP. Of course, here we can see a bunch of militia have come out, or they've been called to militia, and they're going to move on their way up here. It looks like to go ahead and try to get a expansion creep off. And if we look back over here at the Undead player's base, you can see he doesn't really have a lot going on for him. Just getting that tech going as fast as he can. He does have the 4 ghouls, so it's a slightly modified Ted Fiends, getting an additional wood ghoul, which could indicate a couple of things. In this case, I think it's going to indicate destroyers, if I remember correctly. Maybe not, we'll see. But it definitely looks like it's going to indicate destroyers. Of course, you can see MalyKsiaze taking a lot of damage on that Death Knight. Really, not really doing too much right in terms of stopping this, but he will go ahead and try to maybe steal this Overseer. Of course, AthiestP going to go ahead and try to stop him from having that happen. And as you can see, just wailing on it, and he will go ahead and pick up the experience, picking up level 2 on the Death Knight from Harass. Very nice to have done. And of course, that is a lot of XP denied to the Archmage. Of course, the Archmage is going to go ahead and pick up those items and the Tome. It's going to be a Ring of Protection plus that brings up to 6 armor, which isn't bad. It gives him 36% additional effective hit points versus melee/physical attack damages. Not spells, which is, you know, coil, so not too useful in that regard, but it's pretty good for, like, if you're getting attacked by, say, the Lich or something, especially if they have an Orb of Corruption. We might still see that item being sold, even though it's kind of fairly good nonetheless. A little bit of peasant micro going on right there, trying to keep his units alive against that skeleton. Not quite going to be enough. Just taking slightly too long to cake those skeletons down. And of course, we're going to see that Town Hall going up right here. Of course, he's also going to build a couple of scout towers, turn those into actual towers. Now we are going to see tier 2 for MalyKsiaze, and MalyKsiaze sitting at tier 2 saying, all right, I'm going to go straight to tier 3, because screw tier 2. Now, if that's the case, given that is the case, and he's got all these extra additional ghouls here, well, 1 additional ghoul, we might be seeing a double slaughterhouse build, which would indicate slaughter or destroyer slaughter of towers, maybe, of buildings, who knows. But this could be a kind of one of, well, we've kind of seen this a little bit before, where we've seen some people doing some what I would call deceptive destro pushes. That's what we're going to start calling, that's what I'm going to call the strategy at any rate, deceptive destro push. Because what you're doing, essentially, as you play this Ted Fiends build, it looks like you're going to go with a fairly standard type of deal. And there's a couple of different things that's going on right there, you know, like the big tier 2s, the tier 3s, the wagon pushes, the head whatever's. You don't really see a lot of destro pushes anymore. Of course, recently I actually did see a couple of these really deceptive destro pushes, really a couple of Zotacs ago, where I can't remember who it was, but what he did was he basically did double slaughterhouse. Yeah, he did this kind of build right here. I'm not quite sure if it was exactly like this, but he surprised the human opponent with a bunch of destroyers at 10 minutes. Of course, I say surprise, it was a good human player, and the human actually scouted it just before it hit, so he had a little bit of time to go ahead and start massing towers, and it saved him, I think, from obliteration, but it did give a pretty good lead, I think, for the Undead player, and worked out pretty well for the Undead player in that matchup. So we might start seeing stuff like that more often, and I think that's what's going on right here for MalyKsiaze. Of course, it looks like it doesn't. I mean, double slaughterhouse, I think that's definitely what he wants to do, and it looks like it could work pretty easily. There's only 3 towers sitting over that at that expansion, 1 arcane tower that's not really going to do anything at all at the main, and it doesn't look like any masonry upgrades at all. No tech yet for the human either. It's 7 minutes in the game, so as you can see, he's just the human player just playing it really safe right now, and he's going to go ahead and get a couple of additional towers, but again, I don't think he's getting that many. Usually you just don't get that many. You need a lot of towers to defend a destro push, a lot. And the destro push can hit anywhere for as early as 9 minutes, or you could wait up to like 10 minutes or even 10:30, you know, and hit with like 5 destros, which could really stop a large number of towers, honestly, especially without masonry upgrades, and especially with all the, you know, the nerfs that happened to towers in the past couple of patches. Of course, it does remain to be seen what we're going to see, if we're going to see the destro push, but it does look like it. However, there's only 2 statues out right now, you know. Of course, that Death Knight actually can get surrounded right now, and will he even get the experience? He will get the experience. We'll pick up level 3 on that Death Knight, but he is currently surrounded by these footmen. A really nice play from AthiestP right there. Of course, that Archmage still level 2, but getting pretty close to level 3 himself, and those statues are going to take a bit of a beating. Now you can just go ahead and see destro form on its way for MalyKsiaze. So I'm thinking we're going to see a destro push. It looks pretty good, and I'm not sure. He should just make another, you know, destroyer once he gets the resources for that. But actually, it's going to be a little bit tight because he is getting the burrow. He's going to have to pick up the Orb of Corruption as that Lich pops out. Of course, he could actually say, screw the Orb of Corruption, get the second destroyer right now, and, you know, later on, after the destro push, after you can, you know, take out this expansion, for example, then pick up the Orb of Corruption. That's a possibility. Anyway, we're going to see a Shredder being picked up now by AthiestP. From this, he did also go ahead and creep that out, picking up a Hellstone, or at least he crept out the big level 6 Troll Warlord guy, and that means nice. Of course, getting level 3 on your Archmage is always nice, but MalyKsiaze just, you know, saying, I'm going to try to fight you, pick off one of your water elementals, get a little bit of experience myself, and now your Archmage is going to be the focus target for me as you try to do some damage to my Obsidian statues, which isn't very nice. But he did actually go ahead and go with the route of picking up the Orb of Corruption on that Lich, and there he goes. Destroyer form has been researched. This could be a very devastating destro push that we're about to see, potentially, and we'll see. Of course, Rod of Necromancy has, I mean, again, you would think some more destros maybe. I mean, he's 45 food out of 60. You could throw down plenty of destros.
Job's done.
And meat wagons. This must have been a misclick. Because if he was making 2 more destros right now, it's 9 minutes into the game, 9 minutes 20 seconds into the game, made 2 more statues, he could push this with 4 destros, walk over it, and there'd be nothing the human player could really do. The human player is just now hitting tier 2. He's actually going to go ahead and move out all of these buildings right here. Well, I say there's nothing he could have done about it. There's nothing he could have done about it for stopping this. I mean, he would have lost that for sure. He wouldn't have necessarily been out of the game. And that's one of the downfalls of the destro push, really, is that if your opponent gets to tech and such, you can't really get him out of the game. You can't really end the game so much with the destroyers, but you can do a lot of economic damage, and that's kind of what, you know, this kind of deceptive destro push, in my opinion, is kind of all about. It's not necessarily about ending the game. But we're going to see the human player getting creepjacked right here. He's going to TP out, but he will lose a two footmen to a coil and a frost nova. So a nice play by both players there. Of course, a preemptive teleport. Had he waited too long, he probably would have lost all of those footmen. As you can see, they're all very, very low. So only losing 2 when you very, very easily could have lost all of them is a pretty nice move. And of course, picking them off is nice as well. And again, these meat wagons, so out of place. I just don't know what to say. I don't know if that was an intentional decision, then I don't understand yellow at all. And I think he's either Swedish or Polish. I don't remember, but he's an undead. He's not super unknown. He's pretty good. But anyway. So he's pretty good, which is why I'm confused by the fact that he got meat wagons. Again, it must have been a mistake. It must have been a misclick or something like that. Of course, Mountain King has come out as the second hero for AthiestP, and he does have a couple of spellbreakers as well. And here comes MalyKsiaze. Will he go ahead and try to do some damage? He might as well use these meat wagons since he has them. He's not going to really be taking out an expansion with them, but you know, maybe doing some damage to these buildings, taking out a shop, doing a pretty decent timing, I suppose. These ghouls, are they frenzy ghouls? It doesn't look it. The answer is no, they are not. Of course, you can always check if their average move speed without Unholy Aura, or if there's move speed right there. I want to move my cursor, I can't. But if their move speed is average without Unholy Aura, then they are not frenzy ghouls. If it is fast, then they are frenzy ghouls. Simple little way to tell. Of course, now these meat wagons have actually, they got free reign right now if they want to stay while the human army is being chased around by the undead army. Of course, these meat wagons could potentially be taken effect by militia or something like that. But we're just going to see actually really nice nukes right there, taking down these peasants, and Castle Tech coming in for AthiestP might lose one of these sanctums, maybe even two, if he doesn't take this fight fairly soon. It's definitely going to lose at least one, because that's not going to be repaired in time. No, and indeed, we're going to even see maybe a couple more of these peasants going down to nukes, perhaps, should he decide to, should MalyKsiaze want to. Looks like he might just say screw it and decide to fight, though. And indeed, that would probably be a pretty good decision. Of course, we're going to see a coil on that Fiend. It's taking a bit of damage. It's been bolted. He's probably going to go down. Probably won't be able to burrow in time. Indeed, he won't. And there are a couple of militia have been summoned out. It looks like 5 total, all in all. And, of course, that could have been burrowed, but that's okay. There was really no hope for him actually walking out of that. He's going to get bolted and bashed and taken down. And the nice little, what's it called, Poison Cloud, Disease Cloud. Disease Cloud really kind of wrecking havoc with these meat wagons. And of course, you also have the Abomination. So all of these units getting poisoned, or at least all of the human units getting poisoned, well, they'll take 1 damage over 100, well, 1 damage per second over 120 seconds. So it's actually pretty nice. Does a really good job of stopping like passive regeneration. And sometimes, for some, depending on the unit, it can, you know, deal damage over time. I think it does for human and orc player units, not heroes, of course. But for, I don't even know, they do. I guess they do. I don't think it lasts for 120 seconds on heroes, but I don't know for sure about that one either. Anyway, this fight's still going on the way. Both those arcane sanctums have now been taken down, and we're just going to see these spellbreakers now trying to back off. Will we see another one going down? These spellbreakers are upgraded 2-0. The Fiends and the Meat Wagons are upgraded. Well, no, the Meat Wagons Abominations are upgraded 1-0. Of course, the Ghouls as well. And the Fiends have no attack upgrades, and that's pretty nice. Of course, you can see that if those Meat Wagons had one more upgrade, they'd be doing a little bit more damage. You know, 3 Meat Wagons match your attack upgrade to the Masonry upgrade. Works out pretty well. But, you know, 1 upgrade, 2 level, 2 Masonry, 2 Meat Wagons is still pretty good for a siege, nonetheless, like, so especially this sort of situation. And we're just seeing a lot of these human buildings at the main going down. Of course, Paladin about to come out for the 3rd hero choice of the human player. He's going to get nuked down. Will he actually die? He potentially could right here. Looks like he's going to get snapped out at 97 life, but he's right here. He's stuck right there. He cannot move, so we might see the Undead player going ahead and attacking him. He does have those Meat Wagons currently sicked on him, if you want to say. And that's going to actually, looks like maybe even eventually kill him, unless the human player can force the Undead player back off, and it looks like that's what we're going to see happen. So that Paladin, very nice, very lucky, unless the Undead player comes back down here once again, and he could go down there and finish him off. All he has to do is attack it. You can dispel this terribly sanctuary buff with your destroyer, get a little bit that way, and of course, it removes his magic immunity. Indeed, that looks like what's going to happen, and he's going to go down, and then right there, just like that, down. And of course, since the altar is dead, that means it's going to have to be rebuilt, probably up here. Indeed, we're going to see that, I'm sure, happen at some point. Of course, we're going to see double Griffin Aviaries being built for the human player. Of course, he has remade his arcane sanctums as well. And it looks like that's about all that's going on up there. Human player coming in for the fight. And of course, we're going to see that happening as these breakers try to get micro just a little bit. And again, these breakers are now at 3-0 attack upgrades. Very nice. It's just now finished. And we're going to see that Lich getting bolted as he picks up level 4. Trying to avoid this surround right there. Going to have a scroll of Town Portal passed over to the Lich now that the Undead player feels a little bit like he might be in danger there. And these Abominations actually at 2-0 attack upgrades themselves. Amazingly attack at 2-0s as well. And getting those Meat Wagons out at that point kind of became a little bit priority, and we're going to see one of those going down. First, we're going to see one Spellbreaker going down right there, and this Lich is doing some nice amount of damage to these Spellbreakers, and this Meat Wagon maybe even going to stay alive through some pretty nice micro from MalyKsiaze. Of course, the human player definitely committed pretty hard to that, losing, I think, 3 Spellbreakers right there. going right back in for it. I'm surprised, and of course he's going to take a lot of damage. These abominations are 2-0. I think that's the main reason MalyKsiaze's been upgrading attack, is because abominations do a lot of damage to spellbreakers. They do normal attack damage, and as you can see, spellbreakers have medium armor, which means they take extra damage from normal attacks. So, you know, 2-0 attack upgraded abominations, 35 to 53 damage, and they're hitting pretty hard against these spellbreakers. It's like your shields may be big, but my hook's bigger. And this spellbreaker right here is just kind of getting completely ignored by all these abominations. I'm not really sure what that's about right there, but that spellbreaker is just like, don't mind me, I'm just in line. You know, don't worry about it. And so, you know, MalyKsiaze was like, sure thing, no problem, you know, and let him right on by. A bit of an odd decision, but hey, probably just didn't see him. They're small units, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so now this is a little bit of an unfortunate like building position for the human player, as he has all of these buildings up here kind of exposed, and in such a way that actually taking a fight behind them isn't so great. He's going to end up having a lot of units blocked off to make micro very difficult, but nonetheless, Griffin Riders are 3-0 upgrades as well. As you can see, they have Mithril Forged Swords, so do Spellbreakers, Mithril Forged Swords, so they share upgrades right there. For the attack, they have different armor upgrades, though. Human units work out kind of weird like that, but it's cool. And anyway, those Griffins are going to do a lot of damage to abominations that have heavy armor, which means they take extra damage from magic attack. So we're seeing a very nice tech switch from the human player, and the undead player now being forced to back off just a little bit, saying, there's too much damage, I'm going to morph all of these destroyers up to try to help deal with this fact that I'm having a hard time fighting. Of course, that paladin going to get very low. It's going to go down indeed, and the Mountain King also, he's just been staffed out a second ago, and the human player actually going to be forced to back off. Of course, we do have these meat wagons up. One more additional meat wagon has been made. We're just seeing these meat wagons being used all game. So if, you know, if MalyKsiaze didn't, it makes me feel like MalyKsiaze intentionally made the meat wagons earlier on, which, you know, because he's been, but I don't know. I can't really be certain either way about it. But anyway, we're going to see level 5 now being picked up by the Death Knight and an Abomination. Oh, very nice, very close quill. Just as that Abomination was very, very, very low on life, he's going to get that quill. Of course, we're going to see that Griffin Rider. Will it go down? No, it's going to get webbed one more time indeed, so it should die. And those Griffin Riders, they do a lot of damage to your Abomination, so you really want to kill them. Of course, we're going to see that Paladin coming out right now, and he's going to heal that Griffin Rider, try to keep it alive. Not quite going to be enough. And this Altar of Kings, it's been getting welled on by the meat wagons for a little bit. It will go down, and there are still these 2 Arcane Sanctums up right there, as well as this Blacksmith. And now the meat wagons just providing some nice focus fire or additional siege fire, I suppose, siege support, if you want to, if you'd like, if you will. The Mountain King, of course, he's going to be level 1, very close to level 2 experience away, in fact, which is actually an interesting connection to level 2 experience away. Haha. I shouldn't make jokes. Anyway, so we're gonna see the Arcane Sanctum. One of them is down. We're gonna see the second one starting to take a bit of damage as well. There's a bit of building or space back here that the human player could use for buildings, should he desire. Of course, he's gonna decide to come down here and build a barracks, as well as a Griffin Aviary down at his main base. He already has one Griffin Aviary already rebuilt right there. Indeed, lots of more building space. This shredder is very good for that. As you can see, getting 200 chunks of wood at a time, and the Arcane Sanctum has indeed fallen. Now, these 2 meat wagons could do some damage to this town hall, potentially even take out this expansion that the human player has, which would be, you know, not so great for the human player AthiestP. Nonetheless, he is going to go ahead and keep on creeping. He knows he has a bit of time, and of course, that's one thing that you need to have as a human player: maximum amount of usage of your time as efficiently as possible. Of course, that's also very true for orc players. Really, it's true for every race, but it's very, very evident in these sort of situations. It's very easy to like look at and say, yeah, you have to say, okay, this will survive on its own for a little while. What can I do in the meantime? How long can I wait to get here? And how long can I wait until I have to defend that? Of course, when you have such few number of peasants and they're dying so quickly, your time's very short. Normally you'll see in pro games, you know, loads of peasants repairing a town hall in these sort of situations. This isn't really the normal situation though. This is a late game, teched up, leveled up undead army with mass nukes and some really strong meat wagons doing a lot of damage. We can finally see level 3 masonry is hit for the human player, and still only level 2 on the attack upgrades for those wagons. But I mean, we're just gonna see these peasants. They're not gonna be enough. They're gonna be a nuke down, as you can see, and indeed one more peasant down. There's only 1 peasant alive, so it's good. This town hall is gonna fall. There's really nothing the human player can do about that. Even if he tried to defend it, he just doesn't have the army at the time, as he's lost so many production buildings. But down goes the town hall. There are still the towers up, as well as the blacksmith, and 1 peasant remains, maybe to rebuild the town hall and try to start a new legacy. We'll see. We're to back off like a coward. Anyway, so down here we're going to go ahead and see that there's going to be a farm. It's going to take some damage. The farm is not moving anywhere. And here is a ghoul scouting a little bit of information himself, saying, is there an expansion being put up by the human player right here? That is important information you need to know. That is the kind of intel that can win you a game just by knowing it. Saying, okay, I know that my opponent is down to 1 gold mine. I know I'm in 1 gold mine. And as we can see, both of them are about to run out. We're going to see MalyKsiaze putting up a second crypt. A little bit of an odd choice this close to running out of gold, really. Normally not worth it. Time at this point is probably fine to wait, you know. But anyway, here comes a bunch of militia. Again, another odd choice from the Undead player to actually take this fight so close to being out of gold at the gold mine. But, you know, there you go. And, of course, we're going to see level 3 being picked up by the Mountain King right there. And the Undead player doing pretty well in the fight nonetheless. And he's going to go ahead and have to TP out as that Death Knight becomes slightly too low on HP for comfort. And level 5 was picked up for the Lich. If we look, I'm pretty sure, yes, indeed it was. And, of course, over here we can see that Meat Wagon trying to get away from these militia. And it looks like it's going to work. And, of course, we can see that the human army at level 4 on the Archmage, some decent items, a potion of healing as well as a scroll regeneration and a mana stone and staff and dust. All of those are very useful items versus composition. And of course we see the Mountain King. The main item here is the clarity and the boots of speed. Finger protection is kind of nice as well. And of course a paladin with no items, but he does have divine shield and holy light. And of course there is a level 2 brilliance aura underlining the whole shebang. So there you go. There you go. And down here, we're just going to see this is about to run out again, like I said, any second now. So again, a second Griffin Avery. Again, odd choice maybe to repair him, but I guess you know, if he's looking to get an expansion up. Anyway, so we're going to see that Archmage taking, it looks like a couple of nukes right there, and a bit of focus fire. He's going to pop that potion of healing and back off. The Death Knight now getting a lot of damage taken to himself. He's going to have to be really careful not to lose that, because if it does go down, he's not going to be able to fight, and that maybe will be enough to allow the human player to get up an expansion. We're going to see this Abomination taking a lot of damage himself. One more nuke could kill him. Is there enough mana for a coil? There is. There's the coil. Very nice. And of course the Holy Light. Not going to be enough damage to kill it after the coil. Of course, coil at level 3 heals for 600. An absolute massive whopping amount. And really staggering. And of course the level 1 Holy Light only going to do 100 damage. So not really a huge deal. Of course we're going to see this Meat Wagon trying to do something maybe down here. But perhaps at this point just scout. Indeed. We're going to see AthiestP going ahead and saying, I know you don't want me. You are trying to deny that Meat Wagon. And so I don't get any experience from it, but I'm going to attack my blacksmith with all these towers so that my towers don't kill it. Because, of course, if the towers kill it, then he doesn't get any experience for the kill. Which is a balance mechanism that was implemented in TFT, because really towers could be used for creeping and all their sorts of nonsense very, very easily in Reign of Chaos when they were like, hey, you know, we need to change that. And so that's why tower kills don't give you XP or any building kills either. And of course that was also because there's like Ancient of War, Archer Wars that were just nuts, which wasn't really the intended direction for Night Elf versus Night Elf. But anyway, getting off track, of course we're going to see up here the human player saying I might as well keep creeping, and it looks like the human player also saying I want to try to do some long distance mining. Oh, very unfortunate. He's going to lose, it looks like, almost every single one of his peasants right here. An absolute massacre, and a lot of experience being picked up by these undead heroes. Getting 25 XP a kill, split between 2 heroes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 kills right there. Almost 250 XP split between each other, so that's about 125 for each. That's a lot. That is a very significant amount, and really unfortunate for AthiestP, because that was really his lifeline. Of course, we're going to see this Abomination taking some nukes. It's going to get Frost Armored and a coil, trying to keep it alive. We're going to see one of these Griffins. Looks like it's going to go down, and here comes the fight. Looks like that Death Knight taking a load of damage, very, very low, and he's going to take... Oh, it's going to go down. He did have a TP. So close, and indeed down he goes. And now the Undead player, I'm not sure he could have won that fight, but he took a lot of damage. Now this Lich also in a little bit of trouble. Oh, the Lich is gonna go down. Indeed, down goes the Lich, and that could end the game. I mean, we can see the Undead player has 400 gold, but he's losing so many units now. There's not really a lot more that can happen really for him. Of course, we're gonna see there's gonna be the burial, but of course, like I said, he does have that dust still, and it was immediately used. Killed him pretty well. And of course the Fiend, it's also going to go down. So that, you know, losing all of his peasants right here was a little unfortunate, but there you go. You know, MalyKsiaze saying, I lost everything. I can't believe I made a mistake. You know, I can't believe I make mistakes either, to be completely honest. Frankly, in life, if I make a mistake, I just sit there and I'm just like, I can't believe I made a mistake, because normally people don't make mistakes. That's my general view on life. People don't normally make mistakes. Anyway, so that's pretty much this game. We're going to go ahead and say that it's drawn out pretty long from here, mainly with the Undead player whining a little bit. I'm not sure what he's whining about. I guess that he made a mistake, but there's really not a lot that can be done. I mean, he doesn't have an army versus a huge human army. There's no gold. There's really nothing. There's this altar, but it's gonna go down. He has some destroyers, but again, that's not gonna do anything versus this. He's not gonna have any chance to kill the undead player won't lose his building, or the human player is gonna lose all of his towers versus all this. Gonna maybe see the human player have to retreat here with these destroyers because he was able to get so much mana from those water elementals, but not really a huge deal for the human player. I mean, you can see that if we look at the resources for the Undead player, he doesn't have enough money to rebuild the tavern back anything. He could unsummon some stuff and get, you know, some of his heroes revived at the altar. But again, that's kind of a problem because, you know, this is all the buildings he has, you know? So we're just going to put it on to 4x now and just kind of finish watching it this way. There's really nothing else going along, just like I said, just this little bit. And of course these destroyers, I'm not sure why he keeps summoning water elementals, you know, if that's really the only reason those destroyers do any damage to him, I guess, really. But you know, whatever. You know, whatever, it's not a big deal. It's really not. It's gonna sell that mana stone, why not? You know, sell the mana stone. Of course down here you can see these destroyers are just doing a bit of damage. Trying to take out some towers with those destroyers, not gonna really do a whole lot. And then as we approach the end, we're just gonna see that the Archmage is gonna come in here and say, "Screw you! I'm gonna take out your altar and your acolytes, and you can't really stop me. And I got a potion of invisibility. You can't really do a lot about it." And of course, the human player moving across the map. Yeah, there's not a whole lot that's gonna happen here in favor of the undead player. So anyway, that's pretty much the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I did enjoy it. I liked it. A little bit of an anticlimactic end, I think, losing the Death Knight like that. It would have been nicer to see, you know, the fight play all the way out, maybe in a more micro-intensive way, if that's words. But you know, good play, really good play by the human player. I mean, it looked really poor for him at several points in the game, and he still was able to pull it out. So, you know, there you go. And of course, I'm not really sure if... I don't think the human player would have lost that game had he not killed the Death Knight there, if the Death Knight had gotten the TP off. But maybe? You know, it definitely looked like it was in the human's favor either. But anyway, so that's the game. And a fairly long one, but again, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Just waiting to finish showing the tabs. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.